Hello, and welcome to this week's installment of Virtually Redundant. We are on episode 22, and we're looking tireder by the day. How are you today, Darren, from your lack of sleep and in your state of dishevelment, looking like Tom Hanks in Castaway?
Yeah, so for the context to our listeners, I've not shaven or cut my hair in like God knows how long, so I do look like Tom Hanks in Castaway due to lack of sleep, new job, and all that kind of stuff. But I watched the new Bird Box movie, Bird Box Barcelona, I think it's called. Have you watched the first one, or have you watched? I know the premise.
Yeah, I know the premise. I've not watched it. Is that the one with the blindfolds, or am I getting confused with something else now?
Yeah, that's the one. But Netflix had to release a statement saying, "Please do not drive down the road and while blindfolded." And do you remember the Bird Box challenge that everyone was going to be more on? Anyway, because we can't have nice things. But anyway, I have a theory about some things where it's like when they make the first movie or the first thing, like it's all about reacting and things happening, right? Which is good because character. But then I think when story writers try to expand the universe, or they have to the characters stop reacting and they have to actually do something, I feel like a lot of writers just can't make sense of it, because in that movie everyone just keeps making stupid decisions and you're like, what like, have you all been like lobotomized or something? what's wrong with you? Why can't we have a nice story where people actually make like clear decisions, and then maybe not the decisions aren't the best decisions, but don't make like total stupid decisions.
Well, just to counter your point, maybe the stupid decisions is, accurate to real life, because you said people were trying to blindfold themselves and actually drive down the road. There is that.
I don't want to believe that. I think you're probably fucking right in that regard, but oh my god, no. I think I've lost faith in humanity like 12 times. I've regained it like 13 times. It's a constant game of losing faith and gaining faith. But yeah.
Darren was, by the way, this is Daniel Connor. They never introduced me, so
I was about to introduce you.
In case everyone's wondering, this is your boy here, Daniel. No, because Darren was telling me about it, and I spent like the next like 4 hours asking him like a million questions. Like, and Darren was like, "Please stop." You didn't care about the movie that much. but I was so confused by it. The more he told me, the more it confused me. I don't want to watch it now, Because I kept asking, like, why don't someone get a virtual reality headset, and because you can't look at the monsters, and just have the outside of it taken like a picture that converts it to like a 2D cartoon, and then that should work then. So you're just walking around looking at everything in like a 2D cartoon way, unless that also causes you to go insane.
Well, it'll be like Meet the Pyro from Team Fortress 2 then. Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that. Like everything's just like really colorful, and like yeah. Oh yeah, what's that, Connor? How was my week? Oh, thanks for asking. So yeah,
how was your week then? Go on, yeah. Enlighten us with your week.
I'm writing a novel.
Oh Christ!
Yeah, this is now you're not, but go on.
It's a modern take on Romeo and Juliet.
Is that because it's royalty free, or no? Not royalty. What's that thing when public domain? Is that why?
Yeah. Well, it's actually just it's just because I was thinking about it, and like we need to get more modern, and I mean really modern. I don't mean like there's guns and stuff like the one that like was Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm talking about one where like she's Python and he's Java, right? And the families hate each other because Java, their families are Java and Python. They just hate each other. But here's the twist at the end. They all just beat the shit out of Java guy.
There you go. Yeah, but also like definitely Romeo and Juliet is in the public domain because it was released like several hundred years ago. Shakespeare's family are not going to come back and be like, I'm going to sue you. You're going to get so sued.
What about Tolkien? What about Lord of the Rings and stuff like that? Because like that's
some works of Tolkien are public domain, but others aren't.
The family estate still owns it and controls it, so I think they're actively renewing the content, isn't it? So that kind of keeps it a bit longer.
I got an interesting piece of trivia for you, actually. So, do you know Sherlock Holmes, right? Some of the works of some of the novels about Sherlock Holmes are in public domain. Some aren't, right? And what happened was, I think when they were making the Enola Holmes kind of movies. The
Yeah,
one with you one from Stranger Things. Can't remember her name.
11.
Yeah.
11, yeah. The actress 11. But you know the estate who wrote Sherlock Holmes? I can't remember.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, Arthur Conan Doyle wrote. Yeah, so his estate sued the movie because technically in the first couple of books, Sherlock Holmes was like this big, jerk face, right? And he was a bit of an ass. And the later books, he's a bit more like nicer and stuff like that. He's like, but the one in Enola Holmes is a nicer Sherlock Holmes, right? So they were suing and saying that they copied the likeness of Sherlock Holmes from the later books and not the earlier books. And they settled out of court.
Wow. Apparently, the Tolkien estate were horrified when I think it was Amazon came to them and they wanted to do like an MCU, like an Aragon origin movie and a Gollum one. And
really,
they were horrified. Yeah, apparently like the horrified sounds like they're just in a corner there, shocked face, and go, "Please go away, Amazon! No, no, Bezos, no,
no, Bezos, no! I'm gonna make 12 times the movies, no." There was actually funny. There was a funny joke about if MCU did it, if the Lord of the Rings franchise had an MCU and it was like 20 movies, and you'd have like Tom Bombadil, you'd have Legolas, you'd have, But I mean, the Rings of Power it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, when this was an intro. I remember when this was an intro.
We'll be right back. So, fellas, I was thinking, Gamescom is coming up next month, and it took me back to a time when Ireland tried to do its first Gamer Fest, I think it was called. And I seem to recall, Daniel, you got us all hyped for it, buying tickets. Now, Darren wasn't in the country, so sorry, Darren, you missed out.
Yep.
we bought tickets, and then in the run-up, they said tickets are sold out. But then they sold more tickets and more tickets. And Daniel, do you remember what happened on the day?
I remember standing in the rain for like 4 hours. And we just, I don't know. I mean, we didn't, I don't know what more to say about it.
So you spent 4 hours and then you gave up, and then what did you do? Did you at least do something fun?
Yeah, we saw King Kong in cinema, Skull Island.
Yeah, any good? Is the Kong what is that, like the monster universe?
Yeah, King Kong Skull Island is the prequel, or it's before the Godzilla versus King Kong. Yeah.
And are they continuing on with that with more monsters, or what?
Yeah. There's a new one, Godzilla and King Kong Monsterverse movie coming out next year. Good Gamer Fest talk, guys.
Yeah. Well, I was going to go into it.
You can't. I mean, what was the building like? What was the facade? What was the banners like? You didn't go into Game Fest.
I was going to go in, yeah. So they hyped it up as Ireland's first, I don't know, the equivalent of a PAX for anyone who does that. And they said, "Oh, we've got all these booths set up." But anyway, they kept selling tickets. That was a bit weird. So we arrived on the day. The queue was quite literally, so it was at Ireland's National Convention Centre in the Docks, which is a decent building, but it was quite clearly oversubscribed, and I think the queue was going halfway down the docks and back up again. And yeah, we queued for hours, and every time you thought you were getting somewhere, and I think hour 4 we gave up, and the thing made national news and all. It just took me back, classic Ireland, isn't it? Anyway,
I mean, if there's one thing about Ireland is there's plenty of there's like 6 million pubs in the small town that Daniel lives in. It's like there's like one pub per 5 people.
We got Korean food. It was nice. We got
Korean food. Oh, really? Korean food. You finally come to Ireland. What you like actually like nice barbecue fried chicken, fried chicken.
It was lovely, proper.
Yeah.
And guess where it is, Darren? It's actually been there for years, but it's right opposite Fibber's Korean place.
So, for Connor, what's it got for you in the Korean place? Because all I know is the fried chicken is like really popular in Korea.
was trying to remember what I had. I think it was, I don't know if it was a vegetarian version of bibimbap, but I could be wrong.
Are we really talking about what we ate 4 years ago in a Korean place?
Yeah, well, I was gonna. I wanted to focus on
Gamerfest and
Gamerfest and how it was a car crash, but we seem to have derailed. We're talking about King Kong and everything else.
For anyone who's interested, it's called Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. It's out next year.
Yeah,
the sequel.
But now that you're saying Kong Skull Island was actually pretty good, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I had Samuel L. Jackson looking angry at it in it. Samuel L. Jackson, like he tends to make films good.
He does. He really does, and he donates to a lot of like literally hundreds of charities. So he's a. If I had an extra space on my Earth 2 spaceship, I'd definitely bring Samuel L. Jackson along.
Oh, that planet's burned.
Did we quiz you on your Earth 2 spaceship yet? Who hasn't been quizzed yet on their Earth 2 spaceship?
Damn.
Me, but I don't need a spaceship. I'm going Gamerfest.
Oh yeah, okay. You're so Gamerfest 2 spaceship. Who's on it?
Everybody apparently. They oversold.
It's just everyone queuing for the spaceship to Gamerfest for like 4 hours, and they're like, "Oh, lads, what you? Oh, actually, speaking of which movie would you rather see, Oppenheimer or Barbie? Because apparently Barbie is really good.
Apparently, it's and I've been hearing reports that Oppenheimer is the best movie of the decade or century. So people are really hyping that movie up like ridiculously.
Yeah, the only thing with Christopher Nolan movies is you come out and you have more questions. Usually.
I'm pretty sure this is like more of a documentary. So if you come out with questions, I'm hoping it's on the nuclear side of stuff. About nuclear fusion and or fission. Sorry.
I think it was just how it made him feel super sad that he invented a bomb that could kill hundreds of thousands of people. But man, no, the Barbie movie, that's the movie I'm excited for. I mean, I think they're trying it in the same vein as like the Lego type movie where they're kind of just making fun of things all the time. Like they'll have all the different versions of Barbies and Kens and stuff like that. And like the Lego, they'll have all the different Lego.
Like a multiverse of Barbie.
Oh my god! I mean,
so Gamerfest, okay, yeah. Where are we on this?
Gamerfest. Oh yeah. So you're standing outside. Can you tell me what you did in hour 1? Then come on, let's give the. I was about to say viewers. Give the listeners what they want.
Well, typical Ireland. I think hour 1 it started to piss around. To be honest, I don't know why we didn't leave after hour 1 because the queue was longer. But it was one of those like you kept thinking it was like sunk cost fallacy. I think so. You're like, oh, but we've got 100 meters up the queue, so like we can't give up now, guys. And then hour 2, you're around the block, and hour 3, everyone's the friends we made along the way. You start talking to people in the queue and talking about games in the queue, even though you're not getting in to see or play any games or have anything to do with the convention. But yeah,
I don't even know what was inside. Like as far as I know, what like. There was like some streamers and esports and influencers like I don't care.
Yeah, well, considering it was like 5-6 years ago, it would have been the equivalent of us. Oh, they've got a whole 5 viewers down in Westmead. Groundbreaking Irish stream.
So, I mean, speaking from my end, I went to one conference expo thing, and it was actually like a board game fest. Mm-hmm. And I include like everything like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And that to be honest, I'd actually find that a lot more fun than Gamerfest. Just because, okay, well, first of all, you couldn't even get into Gamerfest, right? So there's a lot less people in a board game fest, but they also have like tons of like shops and stalls of people just selling like the latest board games and stuff like that, or even just obscure board games. But also like they have like sessions and workshops and stuff like that where you just go in and you play some board games with some people, so you can trial some board games out and stuff like that. I feel like the benefit of like board game kind of over video game fest is that like for one session of a game you can have like up to 10 or 12 people if it's a board game allowed it. I feel like in a Gamer Fest, if you have like a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4 console, there's going to just be a single controller with a queue of like 200 people waiting to play the next Ridge Racer or some shit like that, and it's like, oh good.
It's Ridge Racer.
After COVID and stuff, I don't want to be touching a controller that like a couple of thousand people have touched before. Man, it's nasty.
Well, speaking of which, the follow-up, and I know you lads didn't come, a few of us did end up going to Gamescom after that debacle. And Gamescom, on the flip side, now you mention it, it was kind of cool because they had 6 or 8 different halls. And yeah, some of them were your typical, queue up to see Ubisoft's new game for 4 hours, or you could go to like the indie area where no one was, play whatever the hell you want. They had a retro console area where you could do whatever you want. They actually had a board game area, cosplay area, and those halls. It was one of those things, it's called Gamescom, but ironically, some of the less gamery halls, or to an extent, were actually more fun. Like you could actually do stuff, whereas all the AAA stuff was, from my point of view, not the place to be. And
yeah.
I mean, remember all the indie stuff. All the indie stuff is where you want to be, really.
Yeah, I agree. Like the AAA stuff is just like, okay, well, what's the next like Assassin's Creed or the next, and you're just like, well, I've kind of played like the AAA ones. I feel like they try to play it too safe. The indie games are where they kind of come along and they were like, okay, we're going to do something batshit insane. And I miss my good adventure games. Like, do you remember, Connor? Do you remember the good old adventure games?
Yeah, I remember the one where it was like to show you, you looking out the window at a canal, and to be like, I have to get that key. And the solution would be something like, you have to throw a nail at a rubber balloon to deflate it to get a rope to drop down, so you could attach the rope to a hook to fish the key or something. Like, really,
yeah.
There's literally no handhold, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, developer logic puzzles. Yeah, that one that really annoyed me because you had to go like to a million different places, and and it was just like, I'd rather just jump into the canal and get the key and then be soaking wet and be like, look, my character can do that. Yeah, I don't get why. It's like having a fence that you can't. It's like, oh no, the fence is locked, and you're like, I can jump over it. I can see it. I can see the other side. But no, you have to go get the key to the fence.
You need a Pokemon to cut down that bush. Fuck off.
Ironically, the name of that game that puzzle was in was The Longest Journey. It certainly was a long journey.
Yeah, I just missed the good old adventure games.
Yeah, Grandpa, go sleep now.
I mean, they're nice and relaxing. Like, we're down this bloody fucking sandbox game where he comes in, everyone else does all the work, finds all the material, gives it to Daniel, and then he just goes and dies 5 minutes later, so you have to go back and give him more materials. It's like, Daniel's just like a dictator, and he's not even dictating to us. He's just a poor beggar that we have to keep giving stuff to, and he keeps losing them.
If you want to watch our stream, please email us at virtuallyredundant@gmail.com.
Daniel has a very unique way of farming. He just farms his teammates.
I mean, it's not even like one game I'm talking about. Yes, Eve was the big one for me, but do you remember like the Conan Exiles game, and we would be building all these houses and doing all these stuff, and Daniel's just running around being like, when are we going to stab something? Stabby, 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 stabby. And you always talk about persistence and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, you just don't contribute. Because even in like WoW and stuff, it's like, to build your armor, you need to mine like 100 of these items. You didn't mine 100 items, like 100 ores or something. We had our friends to do it.
I am terrible at video games. Seriously, I still don't play League of
Legends. That's being terrible at being a human. It's not even video games. You're just you're quite a selfish gamer. Like, I remember we were playing like StarCraft 2, and it was like, guys, I'm mass producing my battle cruiser or something. Like, good, come and help us. While me and another friend were just like being attacking. They're like, okay, we're holding them. Come on, where's the battle cruisers? And we look over, and he's only got 2 at the time. And he's like, you said you're mass producing them, and he had 1 barracks with queued up 19 battle cruisers. We're like, oh boy, I can't wait for those. I can't wait 2 hours for those 19 battle cruisers to join the fight.
Yeah, I think the one that's burned into my memory was Rise of Nations.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the story?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know. It was a bit like, I know how to play this game type mentality, and everyone else was trying to tech up or whatever. And then we were wondering why we're getting battered, and then we turn around and you still have farmers or something. And everyone else
first question they ask in the game after we're all getting stuff set up, he's like, I know how to play this game. It's a strategy game. I've done it before. And then we're like, okay, we get into the game. We start doing things quickly because we're against hard AI. First question that is, how do I build a farm? And we're like, What? How do I get food so my people don't starve? It's like, oh my. Yeah, I mean, you never read them. Like, it's like also play League of Legends, and he picks a hero, and he's like, well, good. What? He's like, we played it for like a few minutes, and then after the first battle, he's like, what does my abilities do again? It's like, oh my god, he's just mashing buttons and hoping something happens.
Yeah, I don't read. I really don't.
Do you like video games?
I don't think I do. I think it's some sort of weird thing for me where I don't. I like it's like Fall Guys. When people keep asking when that came out, people keep asking to play it, and it just gives me nerves, man. Because, I just get nervous.
Yeah. We just ended up trolling Connor. We all ended up trolling each other when we played Fall Guys.
Respectfully, that happens in every game, and apparently from some of the other guys that we game with occasionally. Apparently, I myself have built up a reputation for, after a while I just get bored, and apparently, whether it's Left 4 Dead, Team Killer.
Left 4 Dead. Yeah, you're the biggest dick in Left 4 Dead. Like, honestly, you just get bored and you start trolling us. Like, you lock the door to the safe as we're running in, going, "You son of a bitch."
So yeah, I didn't know I had such a reputation, but yeah, there you go. Apparently, so Daniel doesn't read the manuals. Apparently, I just descend into, I get bored after an hour or something and just start doing things for mischief. And Darren, I think you have a reputation for getting mad at us for not following the rules or doing things right.
That is true. That is true. I mean, for you, Connor, yeah, even in Conan Exiles, I remember us just going deeper and deeper into like dungeons because you're just like, oh, we'll go further, and it's like, why can't I see the level of that monster? Why is it a picture of a skull? It's like, no, run, and we're like, oh boy, time to die.
Yeah, sometimes that's where the most fun is.
Yeah, no, if we were all like, oh no, a game we should play is like a super serious game like SWAT or something like that, and just watch how we all descend into fucking chaos.
Oh, you did that before, but that's a tale for another time, I think. And see you right after this short break. We're back from our flashy sound effects that Daniel never uses. So, Daniel,
pew, 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 pew.
Since you were so upset at the start of the podcast, I'll go to you first. What's your plans for the week?
I'm actually just sorry I didn't listen to it. I'm actually just reading up about Good Burger 2. Did you know that Carmen Electra was Roxanne in the original, and she's cast for Good Burger 2 as Roxanne?
She's still alive?
Carmen Electra, yeah. Why wouldn't she be?
Why wouldn't she be?
What did you do?
I don't know. I just consider all those 90 celebrities had drug habits and didn't I just assumed they all expired.
Did she? Is this liable?
Connor.
Is this liable? Did she? Connor? Liable? Connor? Liable?
Oh no, I'm thinking of Brittany Murphy.
Which one's Brittany Murphy?
That's
The one that died.
That doesn't narrow it down. That narrows
She was in
all the people who died.
She was in like that married movie with Ashton Kutcher. She
Oh,
was in like
right.
8 Mile.
Was she in Good Burger?
No, she wasn't. Connor's
Why the fuck are we talking about?
because he's saying
I got confused. Okay, about
Carmen
which one it was.
Electra.
List dead celebrities
listen,
now. Is that what we're doing?
No, we're talking about Good Burger.
Yeah, but you talk about Good Burger,
okay.
then we talk about this dead celebrity who wasn't even in Good Burger. Why are we talking about
No.
dead celebrity?
Connor thought Carmen Electra was Brittany Murphy for some weird reason.
I don't know.
So are you going to call this episode Good Burger 2?
No.
Why not?
Why?
Because we're talking about Good Burger 2.
Fuck's sake. Right, go on. What's so good about Good Burger 2? What makes it good?
What makes it good? Well, the plot is unknown.
Have you seen the first one, Connor?
Yeah.
I think I've scarred it from my memory. I probably watched it when I was a child. Probably didn't quite connect with it. I know there was Keenan and Kel, but they weren't in Keenan and Kel in it. That's probably why I didn't really jam with it, because I went, they're Keenan and Kel. Why are they not Keenan and Kel? And then I probably changed.
Yeah, I remember when I first watched it in 1997. That's when the original got released, and I was really disappointed that they weren't Keenan and Kel. Like, it just broke my meta universe of them. If anything that they're in, they must be Keenan and Kel.
Was that not based like which came first, the Good Burger movie or like the Good Burger? You know, the way they did the SNL type Nickelodeon thing, because that's what.
Oh.
Which came first? Like, did they do the small spoofs and then made the movie? Because you know the way, like, or did they do the Good Burger movie and then because they did like this Keenan and Kel like thing where Keenan and Kel were doing like these shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for that riveting conversation, Daniel. Connor.
Well, I think Keenan and Kel was its own thing, so I think that existed first. I think the Good Burger movie then was its own thing before they started referring to other stuff. Because back in the 90s, you know, Disney used to actually just make films first. You know, I don't know what they
Disney?
do now.
Nickelodeon.
They're all the same to me.
I
I know, yeah.
Brittany Murphy, Nicola.
First it's actors, now it's movie studios, you know.
We're trying to have a nice cultural conversation, and Connor's just going off on rants.
Right, sorry. Nickelodeon.
Back in my day, Disney made movies.
Yeah.
Disney didn't do TV shows.
Actually, isn't there like an abandoned, just in a tangent, you know, isn't there an abandoned like Nickelodeon studio somewhere or something?
Nickelodeon
really creepy.
Hotel, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
Hotel, I think it was called. Yeah, there's actually like a video about like there's a couple of like, you know.
Yeah, I've seen that. No, isn't it still open? But they had to like remove all branding, but they didn't get it all. So there's still in some rooms that have the branding in it and stuff like that.
Yeah. That'll be the Star Cruiser now in a year or two, yeah.
What's Star Cruiser?
What's Star Cruiser?
The Disney.
What are you talking about now, Connor?
Going to Disney again.
It's throwing some 70s movie reference that we're just not getting.
Oh, yeah. So Disney spent hundreds of millions on this hotel called the Star Wars Star Cruiser or something like that. And it was only open for a grand total of like a year, and it's already shut down now because it was too expensive to run.
We shut down Connor here because he's just going off on weird ones. We just have a hard reset here.
All right, fine.
And he keeps going back to Disney.
Well, we asked you about the plot of Good Burger 2, and you just went unknown. So, like, we had to go off on a tangent.
Like, how am I meant to know when it's unknown, when they haven't released it publicly?
People are here for the insider scoop. What kind of insider are you?
Yeah, Daniel. You work on the set of Good Burger 2. Please give us the inside scoop.
Let me just see. Actually, there's something here that someone. Let me just. Dexter Reed is down on his luck after one of his inventions fails. Ed welcomes Dex back to Good Burger with open arms and gives him his old job back. With a new crew working at Good Burger, Dex devises a plan to get back on his feet, but unfortunately puts the fate of Good Burger at risk once again. So that's the plot. Very generic. Like, of course he's going to work there again, and of course there's going to be shenanigans. You know.
Shenanigans,
yeah.
Shenanigans, kerfuffle. This is a very like old timey podcast show, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the title. Yeah, shenanigans, kerfuffle, and the words we don't understand. Well, you know, since Daniel's not been much of an insider and he hasn't told us much about his week, you know, Daniel, you going to tell us about your week or?
My week? I don't know. I'm just gonna Google and stuff. I don't know.
He's gonna watch Good Burger 1 again.
That's your homework. Watch Good Burger 1 and see if they've left any clues for Good Burger 2.
It's actually on Netflix as well. Good Burger 1 is. So if anyone's in the it's on Netflix. Really? Yeah, the Irish one. I don't know about the English ones because fuck you.
There's an Irish Netflix. That was all part of the UK.
Oh, here we go.
No, the Netflix.
If you're from Ireland and would like to send Virtually Redundant an email to tell this guy to fuck up.
No. I meant the Netflix region is Ireland that has different content in the UK.
Yeah, they're at it again, Connor. They're at it again.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Irish too. Fuck you. But yeah, is the Irish one different?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I think it is because I think Sky has something or just something like because I know there's some in the UK that the Irish don't have, like just I think HBO Max is in the UK but it's not over here or something. I don't know.
Oh, we don't have anything from HBO Max. What are you on about?
I don't know.
Well, good to know that you're just going to be Googling for the next week and watch a good burger. You take some good notes, bring some content next week. That'd be nice. Darren, have you any plans for the week then?
I've been watching Ash vs. Evil Dead. I like it. It's funny. If you like the Evil Dead movies, especially if you like Evil Dead 3, and if you like My Name is Bruce and stuff like that, you'll like Ash vs. Evil Dead. It's pretty cheesy, pretty funny, stupid and mindless kind of thing to watch. Especially when you have a disheveled look and you're just tired and exhausted. In terms of anything else, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna go sleep. Can I sleep? Can I give you a deep dive into sleeping?
We're never going to get a Patreon. Nobody's going to pay for this shite.
Well, no, maybe Darren can take some notes. Maybe it's like Inception. There's 5 levels to sleep or something, and you can guide us through the levels. I don't know.
Can people pay us to stop?
If we get 1 million, I'll stop.
Well, on that assault on your, I was going to say senses, but that doesn't make any sense. But
well, hang on a second. Well, what
Hang
about you, Conor?
They can smell the shit from here. Don't worry.
He berates us because he's like, oh, it's so boring, and where's the fun? Well, what do you do? Tell me, okay, listeners. And now here's Conor's super awesome plan for the next week that's going to blow your socks off.
Going to fit a kitchen. It's going to be like house.
Yeah, for the kitchen, great. Yeah, and then follow up by reading some nice old literature, Pride and Prejudice or something like that. Yeah,
no, I was going to watch Finland Saga because you guys were going on about it about 20 weeks ago. So I thought, I'd finally get around to watching it. So
so your week is just going to watch Netflix? Okay, Conor, thanks. It was so great. Oh my god.
And I'll do a backflip off a cliff or something. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, backflip off a cliff. Yeah, for sure.
Bird box challenge, backflip off a cliff.
Yeah, I'll drive a train backwards, blindfolded. Whatever.
Fucking, was it good? Driving a motorbike over to sharks or something. Fucking fancy type. Yeah, sure. Why not?
And maybe I might play some video games sometime as well. That'd be nice.
We should do a stream sometime.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Well, if you would like to watch our No Reading Required stream, tune in soon where Daniel will jump into a game without reading any of the instructions.
Can we not just play League of Legends or something, man?
Well, yeah, but that's basically what I'm on about. You're not going to read your character. You're going to go to Demacia, we'll go your spellcaster. What the hell are you doing? And then, that'll be the game. They probably added, to be fair, about 40 characters since we've last played it. So we probably won't have a clue what's going on. So yeah.
I never do.
You just press AWD and hope.
I meant in general. I just meant in general.
I agree. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in my life right now. If you're a psychiatrist and you want to talk to please email us at virtuallyredundant@gmail.com. And
on that note,
I want to go to GamerFest.
The Q at GamerFest was more fun than this outro, Conor.
Yeah, this is just depressing.
Fine. Well, we'll have some fancy sound effects. It'll sound great. Post-production does wonders. But thanks for tuning in, listeners, and we'll see you again maybe next week if we can release a podcast in time.